Sabina, why don't I interview you real quickly?
Okay.
So, do you want to tell people how we met and about our little love affair? And then I want to brag on you a little bit.
Okay, hang on. I'm just sort of like I lost the screen here phone. I was where am I right now? I'm here. I'm here. Yes, okay, I'm here. Yes, so we met actually in 2012.
Uh-huh.
I had just attended your first gifted event. I mean, my first gifted event that I experienced, and that was life changing. And then we were all gearing up for December 2012, that big sort of like shift in the collective consciousness. And you and I were together in Sedona, of all places, really working the energies, both
Mm-hmm.
our own journeys and also for the
Yep.
collective. And that's where we clicked, you know. And I said to you, Beth, you know, I have a special message, and I have something that your people need to actually manifest their purpose. It will help live their purpose. And do you have 10 minutes? And then I sort of, you said, okay, very deeply in my eyes and said, okay, all right, you got my attention. What have you got? And that's when I told you about the book that I do. And since then, we're just sort of like, you know, two peas in a pod.
We are. I'm so grateful to know you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth Davis, and I'm the Palm Pilot for the Soul of Your Business, using scientific hand analysis to help you find your purpose. And why Sabina and I are such a great team is I help people discover their purpose, and Sabina helps you brand it from your soul. So what we're both committed to is living not from persona, not from ego, not from fear and obligation and burden, rather living through soul sight, living from your soul, which is a completely different experience than pushing and fighting and resisting and being in fear. And when you start living from soul, life becomes rather magical. Both of us had to initially kind of fight and claw our way to surrender. And Sabina's going to tell you her dramatic and tragic phoenix rising from the ashes story in a moment here. So most of you on this call, you know, you're a healer, you are an innovative entrepreneur, you're looking to find your identity on this journey. And welcome, Renee, Phoebe, Patty, who just joined us. Welcome to the call. You're looking to find a way to live from soul. So Sabina, you are a magician, right? And the magician, their magic is the capacity to work with all elements, earth, air, fire, water. That's really what magic is. And magic comes from mastery. So you are a master. And she is the wizardress, magician of soul purpose branding. And today we are going to look at what gets in the way of you attracting to you what it is you most desire. And very often the issue is that there's a miscommunication between what you're presenting and your true soul. And we've got pictures for you, before and after, as I mentioned. So Sabina has an amazing story. I adore you. I love how many of my clients you've supported. Some of them are in this presentation. When they came to me after working with you, I was like, what? Okay, what happened? Where did you get those pictures? What is going on? I told you you needed branding, but what happened? They're like, oh, I work with Sabina. I'm like, good girl, good boy. Work with Sabina. So Sabina's going to share all she can with you today about having an attractive image and expression that attracts to you, right? If you're attractive, think about that word. I just got what that word is. Attractive. When you're attractive, you attract, you're magnetic, you pull opportunity to you. You don't have to chase it, claw after it. And that's what we're about. So Sabina, will you share the title of our presentation today? And then I'm going to hand over control to you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to host this.
Thank you so much for also rescuing us from that technology glitch.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, the title of our training is Stop Hiding Behind Your Authentic Message, in quotes, and start walking your talk. And what we really are dialing into together and joining forces here is to help you break through what I call your visibility terror barrier. You know, we
Mhm.
all have so much fear, you know, around really being visible in the
Right.
true meaning of the world. And now when we're talking about soul and purpose, now we're really talking about really stripping, you know, off the layers. And this is a very humbling and vulnerable journey for us, right? And so many of us are really putting everything on the line. I mean, in terms of your commitment, your energy, many of you have left jobs behind, relationships, careers, to really pursue your soul's calling. Otherwise, you wouldn't be drawn to me and Beth. There's a lot for you at stake. And the training and the teaching that many of you have absorbed yourselves in is very word focused. It's very analytic. It's very sort of like head centered, right? You know, follow these formulas, do X, Y, and Z, and then you're going to sort of get your message out, your authentic message, right? But so many of you have already had the first-hand experience. It's actually not working that way. And furthermore, the truth is we often don't actually really know what our authentic message is until we start sort of living it. It's a very,
Right.
very different thing talking about your authentic message using verbal communication or, you know, written communication versus being it and living it. And many, many, many of you are really tired, sick and tired of like rewriting your homepage copies, your sales content, and, you know, and not just a gazillion time, but like for the hundreds of time and wordsmithing, where you really should be just quitting that whole thing and just start walking your talk. And now, of course, you know, you're saying, okay, yeah, I get that. You know, I really do. I do get that. But how do I do this now, right? There's a lot of desire. I'm sorry, I'm having my ear things pop out. There's a lot of desire for alignment, You know, I know that you're here because you probably have already struggled with your authentic message, and it
Mhm.
all starts to sound alike. So how do we actually get that soul to shine, to radiate, to attract in your business and in your life? And I want to really bring you some really cutting edge insight that I have gathered over the lifetime, and I have really, like Beth has highlighted, sought after mastery in communication, in arts, you know, to really bring to your fingertips, you know, the power of an image, as well as also join forces with the soul communication. Because the funny thing is that the language of the soul is images, symbols, metaphors, archetypes. It's really fascinating when you really think about it. What is the language? What's the alphabet?
Mhm.
The vocabulary of your soul. Now you're talking really that language as well. And you can find it in cave drawings. You can find it in religions. You can find it in mandalas. You can find it in all holy access points. And what we're really talking about is something very ancient, something very sacred, something very simple, and yet also sophisticated, which is really an outpicturing of your essence, an outpicturing of your innermost divine essence, so that others can feel it, become, you know, in congruence. I mean, find that congruence with it, and then you're not selling anymore. You're starting to really create that relationship. You're starting to converse and convert. You see, it becomes so much more easy, and that's when we feel alignment, right? That's when we feel alignment.
Well, in the
So
name of time, should we hop into the presentation? Are you ready to go?
yes, I am ready to go. So let me start my presentation. Should I click on that?
Click on share screen,
Okay.
and it will give you an option. It will say show all pages, and then you can pull up your PowerPoint.
Okay, I'm going to do the desktop, and then are you seeing my
There it
my?
is. And if you
There
want,
it
just
is.
put it in under play, just up on your menu in your PowerPoint under play, just put slideshow and it will go full screen.
Okay, so you're seeing it now.
Yeah, but I'm still seeing the whole PowerPoint. We don't want that. Go up to the top menu that says play. There we are. Perfect. We're good. All right.
Okay, good.
Can
All
you see
right.
it on your screen too?
I see it. Yes,
Okay,
it's all
good.
good.
I'm gonna hide me, and it'll just be you. Okay.
Okay, so now I've done this in this program. Okay, so many of you know me already, but there may also people on this call that have never heard of me. So I want to give you a very brief synopsis of my journey and my story. So I'm known as the Wizard of Soul Purpose Branding, and behind that is truly, you know, the medicine woman and the Uber brander. And overall, I'm really taking a stand for the new paradigm. So I like to think of myself as a new visionary to people worldwide anchor really their divine purpose in their business. To really be in business with your purpose is really my mission in life. And my my journey is very, you know, sort of soul evoking in the sense that I really grew up in this beautiful, picturesque sort of, you know, village lifestyle in the Black Forest. So we lived very remotely. We lived very close to nature. We had a lot of magic. I had a lot of, you know, connection to nature and magic. And at the same time, I also grew up in my dad's laboratory, who was an inventor. And he had success, you know, great inventions, and he ended up traveling the world to sell his machines and inventions. And I came along as a little girl. Here's some images that you can see here of traveling already as early as the age of 3. And however, what ended up happening is that he felt very much disempowered when it really came to really take that ultimate step into his leadership in his business. And there was betrayal, and he felt so bad and so much like a failure that he actually attempted suicide. And I was only 13 at a time when I came home from school. Thankfully, he actually did not succeed at ending his life, but nevertheless, he had choken everybody up and mostly himself. And what really happened was this jolt. It was literally a jolt, because he actually had also tried to electrocute himself. He felt so dark. And that's really the ultimate nightmare, when we really sort of like live our dream, our great, which he did. And I was privy to that as a girl. I grew up in my dad's dream, in his sacred calling, and in him living his purpose. And then it turns from one day to the other into a royal nightmare. Many of you have experienced that on the path to our most amazing success, we have to endure some incredible obstacles. So what was so beautiful about how we all handled this as a family is that we really went on a healing journey. So my dad had a lot of spiritual, sightings, and his spiritual self was really evoked during that time. And so what ended up happening is that I really grew up seeing, the rise and the fall, and then the true rise again of his soul. Ultimately, he passed away, and I respect the consequences of a brain tumor, but nevertheless, he was a healed person. By the time he actually was brought home, he was truly whole, and everything was completed. He had fulfilled his purpose. And he had also given me one of the most amazing tasks, as well as also support. And what I really took upon myself is, having sort of really been very connected with my dad, to really take this journey on, to live a life in which I can day that I have fulfilled my purpose. And failures are very, very much part of that, just as much as successes are part of that purpose life. And so I know what it's like to write the highs, and I also know what it's like to write the lows. And it's like a violin. We have to really play the whole spectrum. But it was really that pledge that I made at the age of 17, when my father passed away, to my own soul, to my own commitment, that really brought me into this soul-based lifestyle already at a very, very young age. When I was in my mid-20s, I visited Manhattan for the very first time as a student, and I was already an art student. I studied visual communication at the University of Arts in Berlin. And I'm showing you this bench because I had a light shaft experience. And the light shaft experience was truly this voice that's really echoing in my entire being, in every bone and every cell of my body. And it really was, this voice that said to me, Sabina, if you want to live your greatest purpose, you must move to the United States. Now, I had no intentions of moving. I was, going to get married, to the first love of my life. And this all was just very, very, and nonetheless, I could not deny it. And a couple of years later, after I had my master's in visual communication, I did arrive with a suitcase and a dream in San Francisco in 1994, just in the nick of time for the founders of Wired magazine, and many of you probably remember that groundbreaking magazine. It was the magazine that really truly declared the World Wide Web. This was truly a time when the World Wide Web was born. And I showed up in the nick of time, and the founders of the magazine, because of the art that I had done, were so impressed that they hired me on the spot. And that's how I became part of really this, yet again, this laboratory, this inventive laboratory. This time it all had to do with, virtual communication, online communication, global interconnected communication. I was part of this design team that really, laid the visual alphabet for what the web is looking like today. And that was an incredible ride. Simultaneously, my soul forced me also to leave, the magazine headquarters in San Francisco and to drive straight to a sweat lodge. And I did this for many, many years. I studied with some really incredible and still unknown, Native Americans. This is my first mentor, Charlie Red Hawk Tom of the Carrick Nation. They come from Eureka country up by Mount Shasta. And once I really understood, that there's so much to learn, I was really craving for something that is like a language. Like I was really craving to learn the language of the soul. And through my reason, my quest, I met up with Alberto Villoldo and the Four Winds Society. Many of you may be familiar with them. And in the early 2000s is when I studied with them and also went to the Amazon rainforest and to Peru, where I really deeply immersed myself in rituals and sacred practices. And I really feel like what they have given me, the Caros, is a direct transmission that I'm so humbled to really share with you, that I feel like I'm part of that rainbow bridge. I'm part of, that soul, one of the many souls, like many of you here on the call, that is pulling, holding the bridge up, that is a pillar of the bridge, of that rainbow bridge, to a new way of living on the planet, which is also what we could, call the new paradigm. Because it's really about soul fulfillment, first and foremost, having a really, really juicy, beautiful, fulfilling love, and being in love also, not just with your work and your purpose, but also with, your beloved and the life that you live. I'm so humbled also to share with you that I have all that. I live a really beautiful lifestyle. This is a picture of our home in Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona. We travel a lot. I'm spending, for example, the entire month of October here back home in Germany to also be with my mom and to really have that, family and unity here as well. So what I wanted to, that's in a nutshell my story. So I wanted to just share this with you so you have an idea of where I'm actually coming from when I'm talking about living your soul's purpose. It's really, for me, not something that is a marketing word that's trendy. It's really something that I don't know any other way to live. And I have gone to such a degree and so far that I've even crossed over continents. And now I'm crossing over dimensions as well. I keep crossing over further and further into this domain of soul living. The ultimate, now what we're really talking about today here, what it is ultimately about, also in terms of the revelations that I wanted to share with you, is that when we talk about letting your soul shine in your business so that you can walk your talk, what we're really talking about is that outpicturing of your soul's image. And when we're talking about that sacred image of our divinity, that's a controversial topic. Many of you know enough from religion that many religions actually don't like that, because when you really do that, you get to, co-creation energy. You get to God creation, right? I want to give you an example. This is a picture of a Navajo medicine man, and they do Navajo sand paintings to cure other people. And so they make these sand paintings in the sand as a representation of a person's energy field. And when they feel that they have really gained that absolute accurate representation of that person's soul, what they're able to do then is to move a pebble, to change something in that picture, in that out pictured image, and it changes that physicality, the physicality of the person. So that's how the Navajos are curing people, through a sand image. And in many ways, when we're projecting an image out in our business, in our world, this image is not only healing us as we are stepping into a soul image that is a heightened expression of ourselves, but it's also healing the connection, the relationship with the people that are attracted to it. It's exactly that two-way street. And that's what I really wanted to, share with you here more today, is that the alternative to this whole, word-dominated way of how we go about our authentic message is really that all we need to do is remember that seeing is believing. If we can bring an image forth in our business that anchors us on that expert level, but also on that deep soul level, where we are so unique and so phenomenally, powerful, then we really are tapping into that original manifestation, that original creation power, and life starts to align and it all starts to flow. And I'm not saying that because, it's that's what you guys want to hear, but it's true. It's truly the truth. Seeing is believing. And so the question is, how do we create that image that lets others actually feel our quality and our energy? So we're here to really dive into that. And what I wanted to highlight for you guys now is that we have the following 4 embodiment mistakes that I see the most frequently out in the expert space. And so let's dive into kind of like the things that we're doing wrong, so we can show you on this call the things that you can do to right to really be more successful at bringing your image forth. So that first mistake that we see a lot out there is that we have an image, that we're projecting an image that is way too polished and way too perfect. What do I mean by that? I'm going to give you an example. So this is a client of both Beth and myself. Her name is Jeannie Peckard, and when I met Jeannie, this is actually the headshot that she was using at the time. And many of you have images just like that. You may have, exited careers in corporate America, or you may have been really told that, in order to attract high-end clients, you need to look the part. well, to a degree, that's true, but oftentimes this very, very corporate and polished look is just absolutely not resonating with, because while there is a pretty woman and a pretty smile, there isn't this heart connection, right? Can you see that? We're very closed up. It doesn't matter whether you live in Australia or Canada or Europe or wherever you may be listening to, and to, to be part of this call. Photographers all across the globe will have you pose a certain way, will have you have your arms and hands hold a certain way, and what that all leads to is a typical stereo graphical image where your individuality disappears. You can see a very totally different souls, and when you see in just a moment the images that they have stepped into, you can see that you could never ever confuse them. You could never ever sort of forget them. That image that has their soul quality in there is so powerful that you will most likely will be able to hold on to that image. You'll be able to remember it, or certainly have a very, very strong recognition value there. But here in this image projection, you can see that it's very flat. There is no there, right? And it will just blend away into the white noise of the web. So let's take a look at embodiment 2. The embodiment mistake number 2 is the opposite of mistake number 1, which is a visual image that's too casual and unprofessional. I know many of you, in talking with my clients, I'm very tired of those corporate headshots, right? You've gotten very tired of those polished images. And so now you actually want to just be, again, very authentic. But the problem is the images that you're projecting now are not to represent you on that mastery level that your soul really truly is. Here are 2 examples of clients, of images that they've used hired me. They're both absolutely drop-dead gorgeous women. Anastasia Fincuren on the left, and my friend Deborah Scheimer and client on the right. And so they're both absolutely gorgeous women, and they both are attracting clients and certainly also charging more for their mentoring and coaching services, because the photos, while authentic, beautiful, were not really giving giving really meaning to the capacity that they really, really truly had. They were still hiding out, behind those pretty images, even though they were casual. The third embodiment mistake that we see a lot out there is a visual image that sends a different message than intended. And that's really a tricky one, because we don't know what we're making, what we're communicating. Visual language is something that we have been taught as much as verbal and written language. It's a completely undeveloped communication medium for mainstream. And so you may be using an image that you think conveys something, and it actually conveys something different. So let me give you an example. This client, Jody England, and this is exactly what her home was like at the time she hired me. And she had also gone through this, transformation where she had, her corporate image. She dropped that. She got rid of that. And here's, on a classic page, very authentic, one could say, with her hair, with, not too many clothes, it's just sort of like authentic, right? She's like right out there, and she's very natural. She's very confident, and here she is. But the image that she has projected, like thousands and hundreds of thousands of you guys out there, is absolutely not even remotely in the same universe than her soul is. Because when you see later on her after story, you're going to be absolutely blown away who was truly behind this, who this woman really is, who was behind this image. fourth embodiment mistake is to have no image whatsoever. I was recently at an event where I see it again and again and again. So many of you go to networking events, have business cards, you may have logos, you have company names, you have business cards and all of that stuff, but you don't have an image of yourself out there. You don't have that online presence. You don't really have a headshot picture that isn't just a good looking headshot, but really represents what you take a stand for in the coaching industry, in the expert industry. And so having really sort of like a company brand or a company logo, depending on what level you are, it's never, never, ever a substitute for you really putting that image out there. And many of you are also aware that if you have no image, you probably have never really taken the time.
Sorry to interrupt. There's no image on the screen. It's just blank.
I know, and that's why.
Is that intentional? Okay.
That's intentional.
Okay, some people weren't seeing the slides, but I'm seeing them advanced, so I recommend to you all, it might be on your end, and I invite you all, if you're having that problem, just leave the webinar and then jump back on. Okay, back to you.
Okay, yeah, so this is a white screen. That's intentional, no visual image whatsoever. But Good. You get the idea. You may have to really, be honest with yourself. Are you really at a point where you can still afford to avoid the challenge of facing all the things that you'd have to face if you actually project an image finally out there, right? That is truly that authentic soul image. And so now I think you're all really, ready to dive in. How can I let my soul shine in my business and my life so that I can truly walk my talk? So what I wanted to again right in there is that before an image does says more than 1,000 words, here's Jodi England's picture that she was projecting out into the world. And this is truly the soul. This is the master behind all that efforting all along. So when she hired me and was able to finally bring her soul through images and her brand as well, that's what she emerged at. Within just a couple short months after she relaunched her business with this image, with this embodiment, she had a $500,000 program launch absolutely almost effortlessly because her presence was so powerful and was so felt in the field that she was able to really gather her flock in a very, very short amount of time. And this is the power of an image when you really let your soul shine through. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. When we're doing a photo shoot, there's also not just one soul archetype that is coming through. There's usually two or three, a primary one and some other archetypes that are coming through. And so when you're really, really bringing the soul energy through, it is complex, and there can be additional archetypes that are coming through. And this was able, together with the photographer that I also work with, capture not only her angelic quality, but also her fierce priestess quality, all of which using in her service and in her business on a daily basis. Now, Jodi, once those images, were released, did not have to use a lot of words at all. She's since then launched a very successful podcast. She is definitely using her channel. She's using voice, but actually using a lot of words. Her images and her voice have been absolutely unleashed. And that's the power of that soul image. That's the power when you really truly radiate your soul in your business. And this is life-changing. This is so absolutely, utterly juicy and life-changing. it finally lets her actually walk her talk instead of seeking it and seeking and trying and so on and so forth. All of that hardship. That's exactly what Beth and I were talking about earlier. You know, when you really stop going through all these motions and put your soul in there, life becomes so much fun. Here's another example. Jeannie Packard, you remember her, she was one of the first examples that I showed with the corporate headshot. That was her website at the time she hired me, only a year ago, only one short year ago. This is the site now. So if you were to go to yoursacredprosperity.com, this is the woman that you would see now. She's a whole different person. And even though you can still see the similarity in features, this was not an old headshot that she's been using. This was a fairly recent headshot. The radiance and the energy is a completely different one. And so it allowed her to actually relaunch her business. She shifted from, being known as the sales genie to really talking about sacred prosperity, which has to do with soul wealth, which has to do with soul purpose. Her work dropped much deeper in quality. Her rates went up as a consequence, and her happiness and her fulfillment and her soul satisfaction, skyrocketed. Primarily, really, because she worked with the soul embodiment. And that's exactly what we're here to show you, the power of that process. I want to give you an example. Client Deborah Scheimer. Again, she was in one of the earlier slides when we were talking about mistake number 2, having images that are too casual. What I really wanted to bring home here with this slide is that many of you guys have, you care deeply. You care deeply about your clients, and you really care about also being accepted and loved and appreciated. We all. And what often happens in the visual images that we are conveying in our homemade websites and blogs is that it becomes a little bit too casual. Like, here I'm floating in the tree. Look at me. I'm so cute. I'm so lovable. I'm so adorable. Hey, thank you for being here. Let's work together. It's kind of like that casual language. And it really undermines the mighty, powerful mentor that really all that. And that woman that has tried for 8+ years to create a breakthrough in her business. Never has she given up, but she's also never had a breakthrough. She basically had always like a couple clients that would refer a couple other clients, but nothing ever really to write home about. When she then finally stepped through this process of bringing her soul in, and I'm not talking about her brand, but primarily in her embodiment, that's when she really took off. So now when you go to her website, you can see pictures like this. You can see a woman walking her talk. Here's an image, if you can all see the ecstasy, this like exuberance that she now has. She takes a stand now for really leading with desire. She is helping women to unleash their lives, by really following and empowering their desires. And this image, just a couple minutes before this picture was taken, she had to work through a major visibility barrier to the point where she was in tears. She was really close to sort of a nervous breakdown almost, but she broke free her visibility terror barrier. And this absolute exciting, exuberant, energy was released. And then consequently, the wisdom woman, the medicine woman, this wonderful, wonderful mentor came through. And that's the alchemical process that I really want to let you know exists out in the world. You don't have to, use always words and work so hard to find your methods and find your authentic, business. You can really just drop all that. Trust your soul, trust the soul embodiment process, and let yourself be amazingly surprised. This is exactly what happened to my good friend and client, Sylvia Becker-Hill. She was, I think it was like 12 or 15 years of a quest to that authentic message. Now, when I say 12 or 15 years, that's actually in her own words, because she was always looking for how can she put more of her genius into her business, and she always felt like most of it never fit. So it was a very frustrating and very stressful career for her to be, the mentor that she is. She was really, really working with her authentic message all the time. And as a consequence, with her confidence, with her identity, as a consequence also with client flow and all of those things, these are real, real, real hard problems. And when she finally surrendered and said, you know what, my analytical brain can't even process this process, but I trust you. I trust you on a soul level. I'm ready. I trust you. That's when she jumped in, and we were able to bring out an extraordinary soul power woman, where she's now launched international coaching business. She calls it Über Women, with Über Women International, and she is just absolutely fire. She has skyrocketed career again, but also managed her entire identity. She is just, all of a sudden flying from one speaking engagement to the other. She is exactly, on that same trajectory that Jody England was when she had her brand embodiment. As well. So this is an extraordinarily powerful process. And I was talking earlier about a number of soul archetypes that are coming through. When we go for that key one, that in the case of Sylvia Becker-Hill's was now that very much that wolf woman, that powerful goddess embodiment. There's also that innocent girl that comes through. There's a number of other incredible wonderful archetypes that are coming through that are going to give her business and her identity dimension. In this image, for example, where she's running at the beach, she has shared with me when she saw this image for the first time. First, she thought that she could look so happy and so joyful. It changed her own perception of herself, which is huge. And now joy and delight and things like that are automatically an energy, a frequency that is in her business now, where before her business was primarily pain and struggle. Another example, again, from the before picture. Here's the after picture. Anastasia Van Kuren, majestic woman. This is an extraordinary achievement for Anastasia as well, for her to reclaim her Ukrainian lineage, with her Slovenic, shamanic, lineage and heritage, and to really, really create an extraordinary breakthrough in her business as well. So again, you're listening to this training because you want to know how you can let your soul shine in your business and start walking your talk. So I want to tell you about the extraordinary process that I would love to share with you. I have been asked over the last couple of years, Sabina, how can we work with you in a very sort of affordable way? Because, when you think about soul purpose branding, that is very customized. It's a very hands-on process. It can't really, usually doesn't on a group level. So it's taken me a couple of years to figure out how I can offer the same powerful transformation to people, still a small intimate group of people, but to a group of people that are going through that process at the same time, supporting and benefiting from each other with the same incredible, powerful results that my one-on-one clients. And I am so delighted I get to present to you guys today the opportunity to say yes to Radiate. Radiate is a very potent program that lets your soul shine in your business. And there are really only 7 elegant, beautiful, simple steps to this program. that that will allow you to create exactly the same impact in your life, in your business, than all the examples that I've shown you. So these are the 7 steps. So the step 1 is to literally, first and foremost, get in touch with your soul. I take people on a soul journey where I create an environment that lets your soul quite literally reveal what she looks like. I know that many of you guys are already very, very clear about your purpose. Many of you have more purpose information than you could shake a stick at. But what I'm finding over and over again is that there's still a gap, because you still may not know what your soul looks like, and how you can actually express and bring this purpose information to life. I have taken the beautiful Beth Davis herself on a soul journey 2 years ago, Beth, right? And if you could chime in, and I don't know if you've muted yourself,
Yes.
if you could come in, that'd be awesome. About the revelation power of this soul journey, because it really is a visual movie of your soul that is unfolding.
Very much so, and I have watched a lot of it come to pass. Other pieces of it have dropped into place recently. It's quite beautiful to watch my soul plan unfold, and to have a connection at such a deep level to my larger soul purpose, right? So this isn't even just about business. It's about being that soul presence wherever we go. And ideally, the images we present reflect the depth of who we are personally and professionally.
Exactly. What's so exciting about this, the power of the soul journey, is that you may say, for example, maybe you are a healer in the spotlight. Like, I think Beth that's one of your qualities as well, and your purpose, right? And what does that look like? What does that look like, a healer in the spotlight? Many of you may even share that, and I share it too. And it looks completely different when you are tapping into that soul quality. You actually literally get to see a movie of your own soul. And with that, we have quite literally the art direction to actually bring that now out into the world through a photo shoot, through that embodiment practice and all of that. But really, the process starts by diving into your soul's sanctuary and learning directly from your soul how she is expressing herself. And that in itself is life-changing. It's absolutely worth it in itself. And then, and this is where the journey begins. Step 2 is once we have that image of your soul, once that exists, now the next step is, how do we communicate that from within your soul and to the world? So firstly from the inside out, and then from that out into the world. And this is truly also timeless communication information, like that energetic alchemical communication information. So this will really truly give you, will yield you for many, many years to come, really the fundamentals of how you can communicate your essence over and over and over again. We will dive into things like telepathic communication. We will dive into things like image projection, really conscious manifestation, visualization practices in the context of your soul's blueprint. Step 3. Now that we know what we're wanting to convey, we know how to convey and communicate it out to the world. Now step 3 is that we want to really get practical. I'm a very down-to-earth person, so for me it's all very, very much about tangible beauty, tangible results, and very, very much about making sure that this is not going to stay abstract. We got to make it real, right? We're going to create 3D results. So you're going to get hands-on help. And with help, I mean breakthrough help with makeup, wardrobe, and all sorts of embodiment issues that are going to come up big time. So what that means is, like, for example, I have a lot of shamans as clients that absolutely hate makeup. And I understand and respect that, and I don't want to change that, but I still want to show you how you can look amazing on images, because many times what ends up happening is that you may not look as radiant as you actually look like in person. And so there are some tricks of the trade that we can utilize to really have you be totally in integrity with your values, but at the same time also be so excited about the images that are coming out of this process that you burst into tears when you see them. Many of you may love makeup, so maybe that is just sort of like, we're going to blow the lid off there. So wherever you are, this is absolutely not a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter advice, by no means. I have makeup artists and top-notch advice that is going to come, that I'm going to bring to your fingertips so that you can really learn how to really master the embodiment pieces. In regards to wardrobe, many of my clients are so delighted because they finally get the freedom and the permission to actually go for clothes that they never thought they could get away with. For example, hiking boots and cargo pants, or sort of diva stuff, or really kind of like very natural clothing, because maybe you've been buying into the belief that you need to look professional and you need to like doll up and have those polyester dresses on, and nothing could be further from the truth when we're really talking about your soul's archetypal wardrobe and look and feel. It doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum, beauty and congruency and all of those wonderful values are going to come forth. So that is step 3. Now step 4 is when you have all that, the next step is to get really clear on the photo shoot logistics. So we're going over, when should you do an outdoor photo shoot versus an indoor photo shoot, timing, location, general style. This is beyond wardrobe, makeup, and all of that. This is just the general style of photo. Black and white. Is it blurry? Is it colorful? There's so much that you can really convey. And again, it's all directed by the soul journey that we did. And this is where I provide hands-on art direction. I can show you amazing ways of how you can really create a look and feel that is absolutely unique out there in the space, where you really, really stand out. From here, we take that next step, which is really learning how to pick the right photographer that really allows you to capture your soul, to capture the radiance of your unique soul. And then we're also going to learn how to master this whole aspect of how do we convey to other people that we need to bring on board how this gets communicated. Many times I hear from clients about their experiences of not having been able to convey what they really wanted to express to their photographer, which resulted in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of a loss of a photo shoot. This just happened to a client and friend of mine. $6,000 of a photo shoot that was absolutely missing the mark, and she pulled it back. She pulled the photos back. She hated them so much. So this happens quite a lot. It can be very and discouraging, and this is exactly one of the big pieces that you're getting from this program, is that you get the knowledge and the hands-on help to really know what photographer is the right photographer. Now, you may be, you may be from listening in from various parts in the world, Australia, Canada, Europe, the United States, wherever you may be. What's neat about this process is that you can actually go into your, regional, dip into your regional Rolodex, if you so will, and pick a photographer that is basically, could be a neighbor, could be a wedding photographer in your zip code area. And with the art direction that you be able to bring to them, and with knowledge and how you can communicate what the vision is, they are going to be so delighted to help you, because it's a wonderful, wonderful creative empowerment for them to have that clarity. Part of the program is also that I've partnered with you know, half a dozen, and I'm adding constantly more photographers to the mix as well. But already by now, I've already partnered with the expert industry's top brand photographers, such as Siddiqui Ray, Lindsay Miller, Alba Elena, and so many others that are basically contributing to this process. They know my clients, they know my work, and they are absolutely delighted to support this process because they are able to create so much more epic results when clients are so well prepared and really know what they want to convey and what their soul essence is. So again, we have interviews, we have trainings. There's so much to this. It's really, you know, very, very exciting. Step 6 is that, you know, really the end goal is that you are absolutely ready and excited for your photo shoot so that you can really knock it out of the ballpark and really bring your soul through. And of course, you know, you get lifetime support in the Facebook group. And when I say lifetime support, absolutely, I don't kick people out of this the Facebook group, because I think that is just, you know, such an extraordinary community where you know, we keep adding to it. And this is really also where I want to talk about the Navajo painting and that healing power, because many of you may wonder right now, well, but why this photo shoot? Why this photo shoot? Are we talking about brand embodiment? Are we talking about soul embodiment? Or are we talking about a photo shoot? And the answer is, we talk about it all together. In order for you to create the soul embodiment, you have to somehow create images. You have to create a picture of yourself. And in order to create the right picture, you know, this is the process that really step into that soul, and so that you can then get those pictures that lift you up. So a photo is definitely recommended, and at the same time, it's not often actually required. You can also just take this process and go straight onto a stage and shine your light in person. And it's not necessarily required for you to do a photo shoot, but obviously most of you guys, that's what you want, because you also need those photos in your marketing. Which brings me to step number 7. You're going to learn how to use these soul embodiment photos to launch your business. I know we have a number of people on the last webinar who didn't have a business and were wondering, is this right for me? Yes, it is absolutely ideal for people who don't have a business yet, because now you have an opportunity to actually, you know, take a shortcut. So instead of like Sylvia Becker Hills, you know, spending a decade, you know, to finally like surrender, you can actually go take the shortcut, bring your mastery, bring your soul powers forward. From there, launch your services. You can of course use these photos also to reinvent your existing business, make a huge splash, create a huge launch. And I'm showing you in this program how you want to use those photos, you know, for visual marketing, for advertising, for branding, and also for launching, which is really, really yummy. So the program is called Radiate. And what I have for you, because you are special friends of Beth, and also many, many of you are here from my own list, I'm going to give you, of course, a special $5 discount. So if you are already convinced that this is something that you would like to say yes to, the program starts in November this fall. But it really is not about the timing of it. It's really about just going through this process once in a lifetime, and it will really give you endless results. You can go to radiateyoursoul.com and use the coupon code Radiate Special to save $500. And for the first that are saying yes to Radiate, I want to give you a special incentive, and that is a 30-minute free brand embodiment consultation with me. That's a $500 value for the first 5 that are whose order I see coming through. And if you are in a situation where you absolutely know that it's time for you to break through your visibility barrier, it's absolutely time for you to let your soul shine in your business, but you have questions or would really like to know logistically, how this works, maybe you are abroad, maybe you are in Australia or New Zealand, maybe you are living further away, you have logistical questions. I have created a lot of space in my calendar, so I am absolutely happy to meet with you via Skype or phone and to have a chat if this is a fit for you. If you want to apply for a discovery session, then this is the URL that you want to write down: www.soulpurposebranding.com/get-start. You can also just click on that Get Started tab if you go to soulpurposebranding.com. So my recommendation, the last tip that I have for you tonight, please don't try this alone. Let me help you. Let the community also assist you. And I invite you to really take me up on my invitation and let this be your opportunity to radiate your soul in your business. So I hope that you really got the power of visual communication and especially the power of visual soul communication. And I hope this was really, really, truly an exciting and invigorating presentation and training for you. And I'm going to actually stop my share now and come back to the screen here.
Hey, that was great. That's great. So should we see if we have some questions?
Yes, I'd love to.
All right, so if you have a question, you can go to the Q&A box on your screen, and we can also bring you on live if you'd like to join us. And we have a few minutes for questions, so let's see here. All right. I'm going to just change this one moment. All right, it's not letting me, but that's okay. All right, yeah, I don't see any questions in the Q&A. I think we answered them all, hopefully. I recommend you connect with Sabina to find out more about how you can magnify your soul through your brand. And Sabina, this was great. Is there anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I want to say in closing is, when things are not working in your life and you really feel like you are absolutely in touch with your soul, which is really the place where most of my clients find themselves in,
right,
where you really have that yearning, you're in touch with your soul, but it's like that not knowing how. It's that not knowing how that keeps you stuck. Then I really encourage you to just don't even think about logistics or anything like that, because all of that always falls into place. And you really feel like you're called to move forward. This is your time, but you don't know how to. Then schedule a call with me. soulpurposebranding.com. Click on the Get Started tab. And I can talk to you tomorrow. I can talk to you on Wednesday, and we can take a look at what it would take for you to sort of make a shift.
Wonderful.
So grateful that
Thank you, honey. Thank you, everyone. See you soon, and to be continued. We have a Q&A coming up this week on Thursday, so watch your inbox, and we're having another live call on this topic. Thank you, Sabina. Thank you, everyone. We'll send out the replay soon. Bye for now.
Bye.